Data analytics is basically the process of deriving meaningful insights and patterns and trends from raw data, and it can span across structured and unstructured data.
So with Lil Mo Wifey bringing us to our woman crush for today. It's all about women in tech. Now, our woman crush today is Farida Kyababa, a data and analytics manager at FNB Namibia, and she's an analytics leader at FNB Namibia and is very passionate about solving challenging business problems with data. Farida has worked in the financial industry for 7 years and brings a very unique combination of technical expertise, analytics management experience, and the ability to lead organizational change. Now, she holds a postgraduate in information systems from the University of Cape Town, and she's here to share with us what it is like being a woman in tech and just her passion for data and analytics. Good afternoon to you, Farida, and thank you so much for joining us on 99 FM.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
It is a huge pleasure to have you. Firstly, Farida, can you please explain to myself and our listeners what data and analytics is or are?
All right. So data analytics is basically the process of deriving meaningful insights and patterns and trends from raw data, and it can span across structured and unstructured data. So like if we take the census, that's a hot topic now. Data analytics would be taking that census information and actually deriving how many females, how many males, how many households. So that's what data analytics is.
Basically, in a nutshell, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, take us through your passion of analytics and tech and why you ventured into this field. I mean, let me ask you this question first. When you were in university, did you want to study analytics and data, or was there something else you wanted to do before you decided to venture into this field?
That's a good question. So in varsity, I actually wanted to do physiotherapy.
Oh.
Yeah, that was my first choice.
Okay.
And then I was like conflicted. And then my second choice was computer science.
Okay.
And then my third choice was like what I actually did do was information systems. And the good thing when I got to UCT, the first thing I looked at was like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of Django here that I don't understand. And I was in the computer science field. And I was like, but I'm more business oriented.
Yes.
So I made that switch from a computer science to the business information field. And when I was in the field, I never saw myself doing analytics.
Yeah.
I actually thought I was actually going to be in the systems analysis space. So funny story, when I started my career, I did start as a systems analyst. So I started as an FNB graduate, which was great. And I started as a systems analyst for a year. And then during that process, I was just leaning towards trying to understand the business better, but using data.
Using data.
Yes. And how do we make sure that the business derives the right decisions, but not just by sucking any kind of information, but rather being driven by data.
By data. Yeah, so you're data driven basically.
Yeah.
And as a woman in tech, because there was a time when the tech industry, technology, computers, all of that was hugely male dominated. But times have changed. We have more women stepping into the space. Now, as a woman yourself in tech, what challenges would you say you face in the industry in the 21st century?
21st century. I think one of the challenges would be around timing. So like as a woman, when you start to think about family and the likes, you need to start considering that the males, not to say they all don't understand, but some of them will be like, why do you have to pick up kids? Why do you have to go and cook?
So it's balancing motherhood, balancing,
balancing motherhood, balancing also your other interests as a person, as an individual, as well as being able to deliver at the same speed as the other male counterparts, because they perhaps don't have to cook, and during that time they can do something. Another thing I think that is a challenge is voicing your opinion. So a lot of people think that when you see females in the room, they have it all together. But it was a journey for us to actually get to a point where we decided to actually be able to stand firm, be courageous, have the say, and not feel a little bit shy just because the male counterparts have it, all together. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. And having said that, Farida, would you say that it's challenging? It's a challenging industry, specifically here in Namibia, especially for the woman. And would you advise Namibian women to actually venture into this? And would you say to a girl, hey, why don't you step into the tech industry? Would you advise someone or a young woman to do that?
Definitely. There needs to be a balance. There needs to be more different cultures, more different genders in the industry, because through learning about all our differences, we actually co-create and create a better technical foundation for us as Namibia as a whole. I think challenges will always be there with whatever field you decide to venture into. But one thing I would advise people to do is, especially the female girl child, would be take a chance. Take a chance on yourself. Find a problem. Try and solve for that problem. And even if it's in your own small community, start there. And when you start there, it can actually put you in situations where it opens many doors for you and people can actually see your light. So don't be afraid to just solve for your solution, no matter how small it might be, and use tech to do that, because everything and anything can be solved by tech, but we always just have to be solution driven rather than just
you probably loved mathematics in school, hey?
Yeah, in high school, but then in varsity it was like a bit of
If you're just tuning in right now, we're joined in studio by Farida Kyababa. She is our woman crush for today, a data and analytics manager at FNB Namibia. When we come back on the other side of this musical break, we are going to, of course, just end things off, getting her final word, finding out how important data and analytics is for the country, specifically for Namibia. And that's, of course, going to be right after this. It's Alta Osis with Wine on 99 FM. 99 FM local is Alta Idleka, Alta Osis with Wine here on Treza in the afternoon. We are busy with our Woman Crush segment. It's all about women in tech, of course, and we joined in studio by Farida Kyababa, a data and analytics manager at FNB Namibia. She is a woman in tech, and she is just, walking us through what it looks like to be a woman in tech and her passion for data and analytics. And right now, she's also going to mention to us, what data and analytics means for a country like Namibia. Farida, you mentioned the census earlier as an example of data collection. So just, using that again as a benchmark, how important is data analytics for a country like Namibia?
Oh, well, data analytics is of significant importance to Namibia because it can help us actually set ourselves apart from other countries by understanding, first of all, sorry, I forgot to mention the data analytics pipeline. We do have business intelligence where you need to just understand where are we at. And then you have the predictive analytics and the prescriptive analytics that is forecasting, future forward looking. So from a Namibia perspective, there's so many, I'll speak to the census, but there's also other aspects of economic growth where we can use data to help us, like the tourist industry as well. In terms of us trying to understand how many tourists are coming in from which different countries, helping us making sure that we actually have the right resources in place. When it comes to the census, what are we doing right, and where are there rooms for improvement? Generally.
Yeah.
So trying to understand our landscape as Namibia, how many females and males are we across the different regions? Are there particular regions where it's over-cluttered? How do we actually unpack that from a resource management perspective as well?
So that's, in a Namibian context, that's
100%.
Basically the example you just gave. All right, Farida, before we, let you go right now, of course, a great interview, a great discussion just about women in tech. Any advice that you'd like to share with those listening to us right now, especially for the girl child, for that female who might be thinking about going into the tech industry, but might be like, numbers is not my thing. Any advice that you have for that individual?
Key advice from my side will be don't limit yourself. Even though numbers might not be your thing, try it out, see there's a vast skill set in tech.
Yes.
You can go from data analytics to cybersecurity all the way to
it's very broad.
It's very broad. So don't limit yourself. Look at training yourself on a particular piece, and if you don't like it, restructure yourself. try something new, but always be eager to learn and always be hungry to find those opportunities to be better, and don't stay stagnant.
Yes, that's your advice. Yes. Farida, thank you so much for joining us. You were great, by the way. You were awesome. And thanks so much for being our first interview on the segment Women in Tech, as we're celebrating women in this industry. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
As Farida Kyababa joining us, our very first interview actually on the segment as we're celebrating women in tech. She's a data and analytics manager at FNB Namibia. If you missed out on this interview, guess what? You can catch it on the 99 FM app.
99 FM's Woman Crush.